Hey guys, I wanted to definitely keep going on that route of um, psychic videos, kind of just explaining like things that I've experienced personally, and just kind of telling some stuff that I think that you guys might find interesting. I'm not saying you will for sure find it interesting, but um, one of the first things that I remember about being psychic was during the time when I was in a band and I was listening heavily to like Nirvana, and I had kind of known before this that I had done readings for people, but like things started to become really, really prevalent for me when people from beyond the grave had started to visit me. Um, and it's such a crazy thought to even like think that way, or makes you think that like maybe you should be in a psych ward because you start thinking these things that are like, is that really what's happening? Like, what's going on? But I was in a time in my life where I was listening to Nirvana heavily, and just kind of taking inspiration from their music. I had studied a lot about Kurt Cobain. I had all kinds of books that I had read about him, and I had found him like super intriguing. And something about him really stuck with me for a long, long time. I would say about 2 years. His energy was like stuck to me. Like I could always feel him around. And it wasn't until one time when I was in a dilemma and I was kind of like, I was trying to figure out, because I had just been invited to go live with a friend up in Seattle area, and I was trying to figure out whether I wanted to go or not, which is where he's from. He's from that area, and it was kind of exciting to me. But I was in a band, and I didn't really want to let the band down, of course. So I was kind of in like debating in my mind constantly whether I wanted to do it or not. And one day I was driving to my sister's house, just hang out, and I felt something like playing with my hair, and I was listening to Nirvana, of course. At this time in my life, I was just listening to his songs on repeat because I felt like they motivated me, they helped me write. So I was just like, yes, like this is something I want to listen to right now. You get into a state of like, I want to write in a certain genre. Well, you listen to that type of music, and it kind of helps. At least for me, it does. Um, so I was just kind of listening to his music on repeat. So while I was listening to his music, like I said, I felt somebody playing with my hair, and it was the middle of the day. Like it wasn't dark or anything. And I had gotten to my sister's, and I was just like going to her door, and she greeted me at the door, and she looked out to my car, and she goes, "Who's that guy with you? Like who's sitting in your car?" And I was like, "There's nobody with me. Like I drove by myself." And she's like, "There, I could have sworn I saw a blonde dude in your car." And like at that moment, I was like, "Whoa, like this is real. Like I'm not crazy. Like I got validated." And it's almost like every time something happens to me, I want it to get validated because I feel like I'm crazy every time anything happens. Anytime I do any kind of readings, you get an immediate validation of what if you're reading somebody, they'll be like, "Yeah, that happened," and that's a validation to me that I'm not so crazy, after all. But and I think what really put the icing on the cake for me was he came to me in a dream once, and I was really like debating. I was like, well, I want to make a name for myself, and like maybe making music and becoming like famous, if that was even possible, was how I wanted to do it. And I had this dream where I was riding in a convertible with him, and we were both sitting in the back seat, and the wind was blowing through his hair, and he was smiling, laughing, and then I remember we got out of the car, and we were at my like high school, which didn't look the same as my actual high school because dreams are different. And I was walking up the steps, and I looked back at him, and he started convulsing on the hood of the car, and And I was just like, what is going on? And then, like, I remember running up the steps, like, I saw his eyes roll in the back of his head, and, like, it was just such a kind of a creepy dream. And he had never really shown that side to me before. He was always kind of just there and around me. But this was a strong, like, I'm trying to tell you something dream. And this was like, I remember falling asleep that night thinking, do I want to become a musician, or do I want to just travel and live different places and, make a name for myself however it happens? And that dream was like basically telling me, like, do the things that make you happy. But I felt like he was telling me that, like, being famous, obviously, we hear it 1,000 times all the time. It's not what it's cracked up to be. It's not going to make you happy. So, to me, he was telling me, don't go into this lifestyle. Don't go into the situation just wanting to be famous, because you're not going to be happy in that. And you can't go into something wanting to be famous. And that was years ago. And I now realize, yes, that's true. Like, you can't go into something wanting to be famous. It's a horrible way to go into. You're not going to become famous that way. That's not how art works. And as a naive, like, young artist, that's how I thought. But my views have definitely changed from then, and I'm glad that they did. So that's just one short story. I'm trying to keep everything short for right now until I, know people are actually interested. So definitely let me know if you like the story. I've got more to go with this. So I will talk to you guys later. Bye.